make the most of it, don't they? Every new year, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it will be amazing.
They've only just got fire down there, haven't they? So the big thing's blowing up.
Hey, they might be watching. We might be on Down Under at the minute. You know, we do go in Sunrise. As you can see, Michael Booker, who's in trouble, is deputy of the Daily Express.
I'm not in trouble there, am I?
No, Vicky Beeching.
I'll take you on Australia. Come on.
Oh, Vicky Beeching's never in trouble. Let's start though. Michael, with you, should we? Express, page 7, looking at Syrian refugees.
Yeah, well, this is one that could develop. It's the first time we've seen it, really. A few years ago, there was a lot of, I think there was a lot of Eastern Europe and Iraqi immigrants and refugees who were in Calais, and there was a huge amount of coverage at the time. It went on for about a year or so of them trying to get onto trains, trying to get them smuggled in on lorries and things like that. Now we've got some people who've been displaced from Syria. Now, a lot of them have been seeking asylum in France. They're objecting to the treatment they're getting in France. Now, they've been speaking to reporters in Calais now, and they're saying that they're going on hunger strike until they can get to Britain, because they believe Britain is a fair country and they will treat you better. Now, this is something that, obviously, it's terrible to see, you know, the human tragedy of what's happened in Syria and people having to move across continents, but you can see how it could become a very political hot potato, as if there becomes masses of people there, all trying to get to Britain from there, towards the election. And it's going, because immigration again is going to be a huge topic. Already is. All the parties are trying to outdo UKIP at the moment, trying to say how seriously they're taking the issue. And with something very visible like that to us again, and to a lot of people, they're going to be very, very worried by it.
Yeah. No doubt about it, but what do you do with people in that sort of need?
Well, exactly.
It's difficult, isn't it? And if you imagine if it were us, I mean, it's very difficult for us to put ourselves in their shoes because we've never experienced that, but they're saying here that even animals are being treated better than they are, and one of them is a 19-year-old engineering student. So he's just kind of voicing the fact that they're treated like dogs at the moment, and my heart really goes out to them. I know we're obviously facing problems in our own nation about running out of resources, but these people really are fleeing a crisis and they do need our help.
Talking of help to them, Vicky, Daily Telegraph saying that millions raised by a charity group is going to terror groups. Now, we've heard claims like this before about different conflicts and different problems, but now Syria affected by these claims as well, it would seem. Yes, it's the Charity Commission. They're raising serious concerns about where a lot of the £20 million that's been donated for the Syria crisis appeal is actually going, and the concerns are mainly based about the fact that when you get on the ground in such a tricky conflict zone, you can't quite be sure where all the money's going, and they're saying some of it may be going into the hands of extremists. But I think this story, for me, makes me concerned that it'll affect people's donations. You know, people standing in the middle of the high street shaking their kind of donation cans. I'm worried that this will make people switch off and stop giving, and I don't think that's what we need to do. I think we just need to assume that in any crisis, you can never quite be sure where all the money's going, but we still have to give, because some of it will get there. Fuel thieves in the Telegraph, Michael, in the inside pages. Rather stupid fuel thieves, it would seem. Well, yeah, but there's been a twofold increase, according to garage owners, of people who have left, who go to the forecourt, fill up, then say to cashiers that they don't have the money, they've forgotten their wallet. Now, did you know that you can basically get away with it under the current laws? There is a loophole where if you say to them, "Here's my name and address," you know, I didn't really mean to forget my wallet, but here's my name and address, I will pay you at some point in the future, then drive off, then there is no way, they're virtually powerless to actually chase you for the money if you don't then, you're honest, and then turn up again. To fill a form in or something. Well, there is, apparently, they have to pursue you through the civil courts, and the police can't really do anything. The police can't do anything, so to pursue you through the civil courts is obviously timely, and people don't really want to get through the bother of it. So a lot of people are getting away with it. Something that is in law, that is already there, just to reward honesty, really. And they'll say, look, we'll take you at your word. If you come and pay up later on, that's fair enough. So people have been getting away with this. It makes me so sad that there are still caveats in our legal system that actually give people the benefit of the doubt, and even those now are. But it appears that is now going to be taken away. But now that's going to be taken away because the Crown Prosecution Service are going to bring in new legal guidelines. I mean, police can go after these people, particularly ones who do it more than once. But it is the shame that there is this little honesty law in there that's basically going to get taken away. It's so prevalent. Losses of more than £4 million. It's amazing. It says a lot about our culture, doesn't it? And when there's an opportunity to take advantage, it is increasingly expensive. So it's something that people can save on it by doing that. Some people are going to take the risk, aren't they? Oh, I think it's terrible. Well, I'm petrified terrified of whenever I turn up at a petrol station to not have any money, because I'm just worried about anything anyway.
It's never happened to me, but if it did, I think I'd feel obliged to say, well, I'm going to leave my mobile or leave something as a bit of security.
Yeah. Gold watch.
If I had one.
No, it doesn't
Yes, if I had one.
Mine's worth 40 quid, I don't think that's...
So right.
Yeah, it's half a tank, Michael. Let's have a look at a wedding, a bomb scare on a big day.
This is a really interesting story.
I see.
So there's the bridegroom, Neil McArdle, was in charge of booking the venue, and his bride-to-be thought that he'd done everything. He thought he'd done everything, and then right near the actual date of the wedding, he realised he hadn't filled in the forms properly and panicked. And instead of actually just telling her and saying, I haven't filled in the forms, we don't have the venue, he let her get completely dressed up in all of her gear. The guests came, and he phoned ahead to the venue and made a bomb threat. So she arrived in her dress to find the place swarming with police, and he's since obviously come forwards, confessed that he's done this, and he's actually going to be tried for it in Liverpool Crown Court later this month.
See, there isn't a picture of this one, but I imagine that he's terrified of
that.
So he will go to any extent.
This is the second time he's let her down, apparently.
Oh.
12 months ago, he promised her a wedding, but again failed to go through with it. And obviously nothing as drastic as this, but he's likely to actually face a jail sentence.
Has he actually married? He must have married her before they went to the venue, have they?
No, it was actually the venue where they were going to get married.
So he's still not married.
right.
It was a registry office in St George's Hall.
See, that is second
He's
thought
not
to the
got
heart,
a commitment phobia, has he?
It's understood that McArdle and Miss Williams are still together. Why?
I don't know.
Why?
Don't say that.
That's true love.
Really? It's not reliable, is it?
It's quite a serious story, isn't it?
I don't think I would. I don't think I'd be. Well, there you go.
You're not allowed to pass comment.
Am I not allowed to pass comment?
No.
Oh, please. What did they say on Ricky Lake back in the day? So it's my age. Kick him to the curb.
I love
is the
Ricky
phrase. Let's have a look at TV detector vans, Michael. Put the fear of God into people, quite rightly, I guess. But is it all a cunning plan? As
The
Baldwin
Mail
would
have been
say?
doing some digging around. There was a story earlier in the week. There was a Freedom of Information request in which the BBC were a bit reticent to say how many TV detector vans they've had going over the years. They've been doing a bit of digging of the Mail, and basically there's 10 left in the country. The ones that used to be driving around in the 60s and 70s and 80s when we had these terrifying adverts.
Well, they've just got a box on the top. What's that all about?
This was some sort of complicated antenna that was so complicated that it rarely worked, and they've never actually prosecuted anyone using that antenna, any evidence from that antenna that we found. It was all there to scare the living daylights out of us into paying for our TV licence. And there's some more anecdotal evidence of people saying, look, well, I used to drive one, we never switched it on, we just drove around, it was more of a deterrent than anything else. And there was hardly any of them.
Well, if it works.
It did work, didn't it?
If it works.
Yeah.
There you go. You got to stick with it, whether you agree with it or not. You've got to stick within the law and pay for it, haven't you? Lovely. Thank you. Stay with us. We've got much more coming up. A bit of twerking in just a moment.
Not from us.
Let's have a look through the papers once again with Michael and with Vicky, and there she is, Miley Cyrus.
Amazing.
Wrecking ball. The video's got her into trouble with that other, which is a great shot. There you go. Old Sinead isn't very happy.
It's a very interesting situation. So obviously Miley's making the transition away from Hannah Montana, her sort of, wholesome Disney child star.
Yes, that's well and truly gone now, isn't it?
And in her recent performance, this whole twerking thing, very, very suggestive dancing, and she compared herself to Sinead O'Connor, and then Sinead decided to write her an open letter, which Sinead said was in a spirit of motherliness and love. And the letter was actually, it had some really good points in it. It was advising Miley, saying, don't let your record label pimp you out, don't let them make you sell yourself kind of in a sexual way, when actually your music should speak for itself. But then Miley took great offence because she wants Sinead to know that she's doing, this on purpose, and she is in control and she's not being sold to the label. So they've had a bit of a spat, and it's been going backwards and forwards, and I do worry for people like Miley that you get to a point in your career where you have to do something so dramatic, where your music alone can't speak for itself. And I wish that she didn't have to strip off and dance provocatively. She's actually very talented.
Having had a daughter of the right age, so I've watched every single episode of Hannah Montana, and I've seen her live in concert.
Have you?
Yes.
Are you sure your daughter's actually anything to do with
I haven't
this?
watched the support act, which was her brother. But the interesting thing is she does look as though she's like a showbiz machine, and has been from the age of since she was born, because of a showbiz family. And she just doesn't. It seems all to be
you know, we've said it before with a certain other, but it's a bit of an act, or it's just a kind of, it's
Contrived
like
somehow.
box
Yeah.
ticking on her behalf all the way through. But she looks as though she knows exactly what she's doing. Even in them early Hannah Montanas, I have studied this. I'm sorry. She is just like a showbiz machine.
Do you think that's more worrying?
And I
then?
don't, and I think
Or
she knows
less?
exactly what she. I think it's less worrying. I think I don't think she's
Not
one of these
some
ones
sort
going
of
to head for a breakdown.
Well,
I think she is.
Do you think
just,
she believes it so much that she actually believes she is
I think
in
she's just
control?
icy cool, knows exactly what she's doing.
Oh, well, let's hope so, for her sake. But if you like the Wrecking Ball video, check out on YouTube Greg James, Radio 1 DJ, and his version, because it's just superb. We'll see you both in an hour. But let's get a quick check on the sports headlines.